So you're the manager of my spare time now? I was employed at a small market radio station for many years a while back. I loved the actual work, but the people there were just terrible. Particularly the manager in this story. She spent 7 years pretending we were friends, working up from sales to sales manager and eventually station manager. And then one day she decided to make my job a completely miserable experience. Holding station meetings without me, creating recording sessions without putting them on my schedule, ignoring my reports of tech issues so things never got fixed.
It was ridiculous how little managing she actually did.
Basically, there had been a build-up of her crap leading up to this story, and this was the first real time I put my foot down. Since we were a small staff, and I was the employee with the most years, I had a lot of responsibilities. The easiest way of describing my job was I did everything except sell ads. Every day had the same main responsibilities, but minor changes kept each day different. Punch in at 8 a.m. and co-host the final hour of the morning show. Answer phones in the door all day. Record ads and clients. Edit shows. Do the afternoon broadcast 1 to 5 p.m. Pre-record the evening news block to air after I leave for the day. One day the morning show host decided we needed to talk about America's Got Talent. But by time he has this great idea, auditions were already 3 shows in. I had never watched the show before because I absolutely hated reality TV. But I thought, what could it hurt? And I went home that night to watch the week 4 episode. While it was entertaining, it was also an overly padded waste of time. But I did my homework and did the show the next morning and hyped it up like it was the greatest
thing ever.
Next week I forgot to watch. I go into work and the morning show host asks what I thought, and I panic for a second before telling him I didn't see it. Since I had about 20 minutes of morning news before I was live, I ran to my office and checked YouTube for a highlight reel. And there it was. An hour-long TV show whittled down to a 15-minute video. Perfect. When it was done, I moved to the broadcast studio and did a great recap of last night's episode.
Even the host,
who watched the entire show, thought I did a great job keeping up with him. 6th episode came around and this time I remembered it was on. But since I knew NBC was going to post the highlights for me tomorrow, I opted to spend my free time
on something that I actually wanted to do.
Next morning I go straight to the highlight reel and get caught up on every act that was important enough to talk about. Again, the show host thought I did a great job. But my manager didn't think it was good enough. She called me into her office to ask why I was purposely ignoring requests to watch the show. I asked her what difference does it make whether I watch the hour-long broadcast, full of commercials and long-winded filler to stretch the run time, versus watching the highlight reel that has every high point and does the same job in 15 minutes. She said it makes a difference and wouldn't elaborate. She was always pulling that "I'm right and I don't have to tell you why" crap. She then pointed out that next week was when judges began cutting acts and there was going to be episodes every Tuesday and Wednesday for the rest of the broadcast, and watching it was mandatory. How long are these episodes?
I asked her.
They're an hour each. And that's when I decided to put an end to this bullshit once and for all. So that's 2 hours of show prep each week. Do I mark that down on my timesheet as overtime, or am I expected to cut out at 3 p.m. on Fridays so I
don't go over my scheduled 40 hours?
Quote.
My manager's eyes bugged out like she never once expected me to demand payment for dictating how I
spend my time outside of the office. I just stood there waiting to see if I was going to be making extra money or getting an early start
to the weekend.
Suddenly the 15-minute highlight reel during regular paid office hours was good enough. Funny how that works.
Sounds like homework, but for adults. Good for you for refusing to do that without pay.
Good on you for standing your ground. I worked for a franchise hair salon that required all the management to read a book about Colin Powell and do a book report. I wrote my report about how much I couldn't get into the book and didn't feel it really would affect my haircutting or management skills. That was the last time they asked for book reports. It's really the problem with some bosses. I don't mind going the extra mile or checking an email or answering a phone call when I'm not at work. I really like my customers and want them to be satisfied with the level of service I provide.
I believe anything worth doing is worth doing well.
But employers are oftentimes very eager to take advantage of this. Finding that balance is hard, and it seems that you found a way to swing it back to the middle where it should be. Kudos to you and your new adventure. Time to start planning your coup d'etat to become the next American manager of the station if you think you got talent. I don't get why managers don't like when people work smarter and not harder. They need to relax with that. I need to be in control because I'm in charge bullshit. I'm glad you let her know that she'll be paying for that extra time. You should have acquiesced. Then just added it to your timesheets. Wait until 2:55 p.m. on Friday to ask if she wants you to leave at 3 p.m. or pay you the overtime. I work from home, so I have access to my company network and email anytime I'm home. But we get into huge trouble if we do any work off the clock. It's great.
Yes.
There is a thing called familiarization for video games translation. That is, the translator and proofreader playing the game. Only the big companies pay for this. Indies and smaller studios dodge the payment and then complain if the translation isn't perfect. We rise to the level of our incompetence.
Well done.
She didn't waste any time thinking her orders through. Very efficient. All of a sudden you are not a team player, eh? How quickly the tide changes. Nice story, but where's the MC? You have to comply maliciously for it to be MC. Just not demand to be paid to work.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.